few teams that are very interested in him and want to know about his future and what's going on with the NFL. And hopefully, when that is all resolved,
on the star receiver's NFL career. Now, guys, Antonio Brown is currently under investigation by the NFL. It's unlikely that a team would make a move to sign him until the investigation is over and any punishment is decided on. So, understanding that, Stephen A., if AB ever becomes eligible to play again, which team could you see giving him a chance?
Giving him a chance, I don't know. Who should consider it? Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Why?
What I mean by that is this. Obviously, it would take an incredible level of contrition, to be apologetic about all the nonsense that you engaged in, all the things that you put people through. It wasn't like he didn't produce while he was doing that. When he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6 consecutive seasons of a minimum of 101 receptions, 6 consecutive seasons of a minimum of 1,284 or 87 yards, one season 1,698 yards, another season 1,834 yards, another season 1,533 yards, another season 1,499 yards. His brother was a monster producing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What he did in terms of his behavior, to me, was unconscionable. And that's before you even get into the legal nonsense that he's got himself involved in. But if he sat up there and really acknowledged, sincerely, how wrong he was to Mike Tomlin, to Big Ben Roethlisberger, to the city of Pittsburgh, I think the city of Pittsburgh, more than anybody else, would embrace that kind of second chance for him. Because believe it or not, that's the one place he owes. When you look at what he did with the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite his level of production, the problems he caused, he owes them. And I think the city knows it. And if he came back with the attitude, I want to pay them back, I'm not saying obviously he'll never do it. It ain't in him. But I'm saying if he were to do something like that, that would be an ideal situation for him.
He hasn't hit bottom yet, I don't think. And I don't think he'll start to really recover from whatever's ailing him, until he hits bottom. Let me say this, first of all, and we covered it already, but even if Antonio Brown felt he was being extorted, if he believes he's being extorted, and sent the text messages he sent, they came from him.
Yeah.
Because he's angry about it. Once you send that a text message out, you didn't verbally tell someone, you put it in writing and sent it to them.
Yeah.
That now belongs to them. They can show it to whomever they like. And the NFL has every right to say, that is embarrassing to us. Even if you're angry, you can't say that to someone in a way that's going to become public. Yeah. We don't want you in our league this year, for example. Right. I understand that entirely. And if I were a team, I wouldn't take him this year as a result of that. That said,
I'm not talking about this season.
Yes, understood. Yeah, right. Yes, of course. That said, could he go back to Pittsburgh? He had a lot of success in Pittsburgh. They ever win a Super Bowl with Antonio Brown? Nah. He threw the franchise quarterback under the bus. By the way, so did Le'Veon Bell. I'm not saying Ben Roethlisberger smelling like roses right now, but Antonio Brown, kind of anything, made Roethlisberger look a little better. Because if that's your enemy, right, and he goes to Oakland and never even gets on the field in the regular season, winds up in New England, has baggage that no one knew about legally when he gets to New England, and then makes it worse once he's there, all of a sudden, people are looking at Roethlisberger like whatever Le'Veon Bell says about him. Oh, my God, could you imagine dealing with this guy? The same guy who put on social media his coach Mike Tomlin saying, stay off social media, right? I don't think it can be Pittsburgh. I'll give you a couple of teams. Might be some fun if he ever gets it together and it turns out the legal issues are resolved in a way that indicates he's not guilty of crimes. Cleveland Browns. Could you, why not? Why not? You want to have some fun? Send them to Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr.? Here
get publicity and to be, to get hype for what he brings to the table, the Dallas Cowboys are obviously it.
Listen, if we're just talking football, Antonio Brown, if the conversation is football, what team would Antonio Brown not improve if he had his head together to the point where he's not just going to tear everything up in his path?
What market seems most forgivable for those who transgress? I would tell you it's the Dallas Cowboys market. I mean, do I need to count the ways? The only franchise in the NFL that consistently has eligibility issues on the pro level. The only franchise in the NFL that has a player that got arrested for stealing a pair of drawers and a cologne in the middle of the day. It's still my all-time favorite story. I'm sorry, I can't help. Raj, I've never laughed so hard on TV. I don't believe in my life.
Couldn't get to a shower after the gym.
The brother came from practice, was going home, and went to a department store and stole a bottle of cologne and a pair of drawers. It doesn't get any funnier than that. I don't care what nobody say. That's an all-timer right there.
No question. Here's the problem with Dallas. If it ain't broke, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not touching anything right now. And if at the end of the season they fall short, I'm looking at the head coach. But I'm not looking at the personnel. They have talent up and down the roster. People know their roles. They're delivering. Don't mess with the Dallas Cowboys. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I don't want to mess with it.
I was just bringing up your stuff when you brought up the Eagles, Green Bay, other teams. And I get to all of that. See, you're looking at Dallas Cowboys as being complete. I'm looking at them as an accident waiting to happen. Anything's possible.
Well, Antonio Brown, for example.
Yes.
You see what he's trying to do? He's trying to smuggle in a problem.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break right now. Up next, we have one of the best linebackers in the NFL joining the show. Bobby Wagner tells us why the entire NFC should fear the Hawks. Second hour of First Take up next.